You're listening to the Core Factors audio library, spoken versions of Core Factors articles and research created to support accessibility and for listening while working, commuting, or reflecting. This piece is titled Unlocking Innovation: How Cognitive Diversity Drives Strategic Advantage. The following narration reflects the original content and intent of the written article.
Unlocking Innovation: How Cognitive Diversity Drives Strategic Advantage. Innovation as an operational imperative. Innovation is no longer a nice-to-have or a competitive edge reserved for a few industries. Today, it is an operational requirement. Organizations navigating constant disruption, rapid technological change, and intensified competition must continually generate new ideas, solutions, and approaches simply to remain viable. Yet, despite near-universal agreement on the importance of innovation, many organizations struggle to embed it consistently into daily work. Innovation is often treated as a function of talent, funding, or process, when, in reality, one of its most powerful drivers is how people think together. This is where cognitive diversity becomes a strategic advantage. The untapped power of cognitive diversity. Cognitive diversity refers to differences in how individuals process information, approach decisions, and engage with problems. While many organizations have made progress in addressing demographic diversity, cognitive diversity is often overlooked or misunderstood. Research consistently shows that cognitively diverse teams outperform homogeneous groups, particularly in problem-solving and decision-making. These teams generate better ideas, reach decisions faster, and execute more effectively. However, cognitive diversity only delivers these benefits when it is intentionally understood and managed. Without shared language and structure, differences in thinking can lead to confusion, frustration, and disengagement. With the right framework, those same differences become a source of innovation and resilience. Understanding cognitive diversity through social dynamics. Core Factors' social dynamics model provides a practical framework for understanding and leveraging cognitive diversity. It identifies 4 natural patterns of acting and interacting in meaningful situations. The 4 social dynamic styles. Movers focus on action and results. They drive momentum, make decisions, and push work forward. Involvers energize teams through connection and participation. They surface ideas through conversation and build engagement. Mappers create clarity and structure. They focus on planning, sequencing, and understanding how pieces fit together. Integrators synthesize information and refine ideas. They consider implications, risks, and quality before finalizing decisions. Each style brings essential strengths to innovation. Problems arise not from the presence of difference, but from the absence of understanding. Breaking the "be like me" cycle. One of the greatest barriers to innovation is what can be called the "be like me" syndrome, the unconscious assumption that others should think, communicate, and decide the same way we do. When this bias goes unchecked, teams drift toward groupthink. Certain voices dominate, others withdraw. Psychological safety erodes, and innovation stalls. Social dynamics disrupts this cycle by making differences visible and neutral. Teams learn to interpret behavior accurately rather than personally. Curiosity replaces judgment. Different approaches are recognized as complementary rather than conflicting. This shift creates the conditions where new ideas can emerge safely and productively. Embedding cognitive diversity into decision-making. Innovation depends on how decisions are made, not just on who is in the room. Organizations that leverage cognitive diversity effectively do so intentionally. Inclusive decision-making. Inclusive decision-making means deliberately engaging all 4 social dynamic styles. Movers help teams act. Mappers ensure clarity. Involvers build commitment. Integrators protect quality and alignment. When one style dominates, blind spots emerge. When all are engaged, decisions become more innovative, balanced, and executable. Psychological safety as a prerequisite. Cognitive diversity only works in psychologically safe environments. People must feel secure, contributing ideas that differ from the majority view. Leaders play a central role here. By inviting dissent, acknowledging uncertainty, and valuing all perspectives, leaders signal that different ways of thinking are not only accepted, but expected. Developing leaders who leverage cognitive diversity. Leaders set the tone for how cognitive diversity is experienced. Through social dynamics, leaders gain insight into their own patterns and how those patterns shape communication, decision-making, and inclusion. Leadership development grounded in social dynamics helps leaders recognize and manage cognitive blind spots, reduce unconscious bias toward familiar thinking styles, facilitate more inclusive and effective collaboration. Organizations that invest in this capability consistently see stronger engagement, greater adaptability, and innovation that scales beyond isolated teams. Measuring the impact. The benefits of cognitive diversity are not abstract. Organizations that intentionally foster and manage it consistently experience faster, higher quality decisions, stronger engagement and retention, increased innovation across products, services, and processes, greater resilience during change. Inclusive, cognitively diverse environments outperform their peers across multiple performance indicators, not because they eliminate differences, but because they use them well. The path forward. Cognitive diversity is no longer optional. It is a requirement for navigating complexity and sustaining innovation. Social dynamics gives organizations a practical way to recognize, value, and integrate different thinking styles into everyday work. When cognitive differences are treated as strategic assets rather than obstacles, innovation becomes part of how teams naturally operate. Core Factors equips organizations to make this shift measurable, repeatable, and sustainable, unlocking innovation not by asking people to think the same way, but by helping them think better together.
This concludes the audio version of this Core Factors article. You can find the full written version and additional practitioner resources at corefactors.com.